What is it that give people the right to feel they can comment on neurodiversity like they've got some doctorate in it? Peter Hitchins has written an article saying dyslexia is not real. Based on what, Peter? Do you have a degree in dyslexia? I mean, you don't need to have one. You could just be dyslexic and be eminently qualified to speak on it. But what's your qualification? What's your right? Would you go up to somebody in a wheelchair in the street and go, why are you not walking? Could you get out and show me? I mean, would you grow out of that? Is that something that, you can do some work on? Why are you not walking? You wouldn't do that, would you? You wouldn't do that because you know it's socially unacceptable. But yet here we are questioning people's identities, questioning people's self-worth, questioning what makes a person a person. Now, he's hit a really raw nerve for, I think, my demographic, my generation of dyslexics and people with any kind of neurodivergency, because for us, we are probably the generation, one of the last generations where we're open to finding ourselves from a backdrop of you're just a bit thick, you're just a bit stupid, you're not trying hard enough. And I say that we're the last generation because probably the generation before us have just got so far in life feeling that their self-worth is on the floor anyway. And, it's just a step too far to kind of delve into that. That will bring up a lot of trauma for them. I mean, do you remember when people used to have their left hand tied behind their backs so they would write with their right hand? It's kind of that. And for many of us that are dyslexic or autistic or neurodivergent, for me, it's dyslexia and autism. I've been on this journey. I've been on it myself, and through my own journey and through my own, I know I'm not stupid. Why do people tell me I'm stupid? Why can't I do this? What's the matter with me? And through my own trauma, and then being the mother of a dyslexic child, I'm qualified to talk about this, Peter Hitchens. You're not. And it was getting my daughter diagnosed with dyslexia that shone the light on me. Now, Peter Hitchens, I'm a journalist, so I've made a living through words. And yeah, I can't read and I can't spell. I can read. I don't find reading easy. I prefer audiobooks and I see in pictures. But I have created strategies a long time because, of course, the world doesn't cater for people like me. If you want to fit in it, you have to find a way to fit in it. So I've created strategies, and it hasn't always been easy, and it has absolutely, definitely affected my self-esteem and my self-confidence over time. And there was no way on God's earth I was going to allow that experience to be my daughter's. So at a very early age, I knew she was dyslexic, and we went down the diagnostic route. And I knew she was autistic, and we went down the diagnostic route. And I have got her to thank for my own self-awareness and who I am now, because now I know what my spicy bits are and why my spicy bits are. I used to think, my other half called me poisson foie. I don't like being hugged. Just don't like it. Can't stand it. And he was like, you're such a cold fish. And I'm like, I'm not a cold fish. Why am I a cold fish? I show you empathy, compassion, and affection in so many other ways, but please just don't hug me. If your friends come up to you and go in for a hug, I'm like, please. It's not because I don't love you. It's not because I don't want to be affectionate with you, but I just don't like it. There are noises, I can't even say them out loud, that trigger a physical response for me. My skin actually physically hurts. My muscles hurt. My sensory processing cannot process them. And dyslexia is not just reading. It's not just writing. It's not just spelling. That's one component of an entire plate full of other presentations. And to say it's made up is so deeply offensive that I can't begin to put him right, and nor will I put him right. There's a level of ignorance that will always be a level of ignorance, and that is his cross to bear. It is not mine it's not my job to educate him and put him right on that. But what I will say to all the other neurodivergents out there who, and again, let's be totally honest, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So if you have a dyslexic child or an autistic child, they didn't just get it from somewhere. It's highly likely that it was already in the family, but it hasn't just appeared. Mount Everest existed way before it was found in the 1856. Mount Everest didn't just become a mountain, it was always there. Dyslexia, neurodivergence hasn't just appeared. We've just started learning about it. And generally, people that question it are neurodivergent, but they're not ready yet to see that. They're not ready to feel that, because that's for other people. And when we talk about labels, we talk about them as though they're a negative thing. I'm really proud of being autistic, in the same way that I was really proud of being blonde, because everybody used to have their hair highlighted and mine was naturally blonde. I'm less proud of it being so grey now. I was really proud that I was a really good swimmer. There's so many things that I was proud of because they were who I was. I am autistic. I'm fine with that. It's taken 49 years to understand it. It's taken going through the reams of, so when you're having an autistic diagnosis, you have to fill in questionnaire after questionnaire after questionnaire, but that in itself is, or can be, a thing of beauty, because you read it and go, oh, well, other people do that. It's not just me. It's okay to have textures of food in your mouth that you want to vomit. I didn't know that was a thing. It's okay for my anxiety levels to go through the roof and me not be able to regulate them. I thought that was just me being a bit weird. You go on a journey of evolution with yourself. And if you're ready to go on that journey, then there is nothing more special. And for some people, they're not ready. They see traits and they identify with them. And for some people, that's enough. It doesn't have to be the full-blown rubber stamped. If you identify because you have experienced that journey in your life before, that's okay. And very often it's people that are scared of that. It's people that can't quite get their head around that don't want to think about that, because maybe that's something that they see in themselves. But I can't possibly be that, because back in our generation, to be autistic was a slur. It was a slight. It was a sign that you just weren't quite perfect. You just weren't quite right. If you were dyslexic, it was a problem that needed fixing. It wasn't something that needed working with. It was something that needed fixing. But what are you fixing? A human, a person. You would fix a broken leg because you would want your leg to work in a way where it wasn't broken. But being dyslexic isn't being broken. Being autistic isn't being broken. It's being you. And, Pete Warmby writes and does some amazing podcasts on this. The world isn't ready. It's not that you're not ready for the world isn't ready for you. And so when idiots like Peter Hitchens say things like dyslexia is made up, where do you start with that? And for me, the answer is you don't. Peter Hitchens, that's your cross to bear. I'm good with who I am. And for everyone else who lives in a spicy household, let's just do us. Because frankly and honestly speaking, at times that's really, really difficult. So why waste any of the energy that you're already using masking and trying to fit in with a society that, honestly, if they're full of Pete Hitchens, I don't want to be part of that.